Right, good evening everyone. Thank you for staying with us until 7 o'clock today. So yeah, as Alison introduced, I'm Anthony, actually a faculty member in civil department. And I've been here for I've been in this position for just more than 1 year, but actually I'm not that new because I had my first degree in civil engineering in this university and then subsequently admitted to an MPhil program and then eventually transferred to a PhD degree, and I got my degree in 2011, again in this beautiful university. So later on, I stay here for another 1 year for my postdoctoral researcher, so you can see how loyal I am to this university. So this is the picture I have taken right after my PhD viva about 10 years ago. So probably you can recognize this face here. So he's Professor Charles, and he was my PhD supervisor. So you can see we both still look quite great. I hope you agree with me. So the PhD didn't deteriorate too much, so don't worry about that. And in terms of research, I'm focusing on slope engineering, and now recently I'm focusing on the possible use of the vegetation for slope stabilization. I'll share with you more about my research later. So why am I so loyal to this campus or this university? So simply because it's great. So HKEST is highly globalized and internationalized. So during my study, I have a chance to work with a group of students coming from different countries, not only from mainland China, but also from Thailand, Malaysia, and also India at the back. So HKEST has offered me a very good experience to be exposed actually to a multicultural environment, which I think is very unique and you couldn't easily find elsewhere. Okay, so that's another reason. So another reason of being liking HKUST so much is world-leading research facilities. So this made researcher like myself can do things possible and also carry out very high quality of research. And exactly because of this, HKUST has been consistently ranked top in the world, particularly in engineering. So I don't want to repeat too much because Professor Charles at the beginning has already mentioned that. And HKEST also offer very great, fantastic training program, as probably you can see from the previous two presentations by Ken and Alison. So they are the great examples of how successful this training program to make them to be a better person, and actually to myself as well. So you will be trained not only on the technical aspect of your research, but also, you know, critical thinking, problem solving, and these are very useful for your daily life. So as Professor Charles mentioned, getting a PhD, you can apply it to any disciplines of your interest. So UST is also very supportive for researchers to be internationally exposed. So I'm very fortunate to have received funding from this university so that I can attend multiple international conferences during my 3.5-year PhD study. So the first one I've been is the Newcastle in Australia, Barcelona in Spain, and also Pattaya in Thailand. So I'm trying so hard for myself to try to go as far as possible because this is a unique opportunity. If there's a conference in Mars, in Jupiter, I will go. But unfortunately, we don't have it nowadays, but we will see. But you wouldn't believe if I tell you I didn't go for sightseeing during this business trip, but to be honest to you, I have attended the whole conference. I try to learn as much as possible from the big professors. You try to, now, attending conferences is just like, you know, like meeting a lot of bosses in your job markets. You want to impress yourself by your research work. And I actually, from this very last conference, I got several postdoctoral positions by doing a proper presentation. So the UST has offered you a very good presentation training so that you can, you know, present yourself better in the international context. So after my postdoctoral research in HKEST, I moved to UK to take on my first ever academic position in the UK. So this is the map. And this is Scotland, where I was working. So probably you recognize this city is Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland, and also Glasgow. Maybe you already heard of it. And if you were a football fan, probably you heard about Dundee. Okay, so Dundee United is one of the best football league in the old days, though. And this is the building where I was working on. So all civil engineers, including myself, stay in this wonderful, fantastic building. By the way, I didn't wear dress like this during my work days, so this only applies to the big, events like graduation ceremonies. The Scottish, not myself, we wear this kind of dress called kilt for that big event. It just doesn't match Asian handsome face, so I better not bother that. And the research I've been doing, come on. Yep. So the research I'm doing is, as I said at the beginning, is slope stability. So Scotland has also a common problem, like in Hong Kong, you see a lot of slope failure problems. And in addition, they also have the snow problems during the winter time. So we were wondering if we could develop any innovative system that could solve this problem simultaneously. So we propose to use what we call the energy pile roll to stabilize the slope. So you put a concrete element vertically here to stabilize the failure, and at the same time using this concrete as a heat exchanger to collect the shallow geothermal energy for road surface de-icing. So this is funded by Transport Scotland, which is equivalent to Highways Department in Hong Kong, if you like. Okay, so I've been doing quite lots of fundamental work in this research, and since I left Dundee last year, in March 2018, there is a very severe storm hitting Scotland. So in this newspaper, Sunday Times, the Transport Scotland, is, actually the government starts to worry about this and realize the importance of developing very sustainable solutions for this kind of problem. So we are very fortunate to be funded to realize my system in real. Okay, so these are the pictures showing the installation phase of the shallow pipes for the project. This site is very close to my office, so my students can visit it very frequently. And although I have left Dundee, but I'm still associated with this project. And actually, in this coming June, I'll be visiting there again for discussing the instrumentation, how to get the best out of it. Okay, so we'll see. And my research in Hong Kong still go on with the vegetation effect. So looking at the vegetation on slope stability. So with the leadership by Professor Charles, who just left, and we write up a book called Plant Soil Slope Interaction. We're trying to summarize the new findings we discovered in the last 10 years and summarize in the book, and hopefully transfer the knowledge to postgraduate education. So if you are interested in this area and interested in working with me, that is probably the first reference book you read. It's going to be in market soon, so a little bit of promotion. So another research I'm focusing is tree stability, which is very topical in Hong Kong. If you still remember what happened last year in September, there is a Typhoon Mangkhut hitting us very destructively. And you can see this is a picture in Hall 1. Just in front of Hall 1, there's a big tree, banyan tree, toppling. So banyan tree in Chinese is 晒葉榕. In Mandarin is what? 西列榕. Okay, so that is a tree, and then I send my master student to survey the tree root architecture, because this is a real opportunity for us to understand what happened underground, which is where. So normally the government will not allow us to cut the tree and dig out the plants and then look at the roots. I will be sued immediately. So the reason of doing that, oh no, too fast. So the reason of doing that is I want to get the 3D printed model like this. So you're very fortunate because I just got this model 2 hours ago from my student. So I thought I could bring you to impress you a little bit. So I use the latest technology of the 3D printing available in this university to print this creature like a spider in this angle. Anyway, so we try to push it into the sand and see the lateral resistance or anchorage resistance by this complex root system. So I'm talking too fast, I know, but thank you for having me here. And I would like to end my sharing by a quote, a famous quote from Aristotle, and which Professor Charles always reminded us during my PhD study. The more you know you don't know. Okay, so that's very philosophical, but that's the reason you have a great and fun research. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.